What is up, bros? Josh here. In today's video, we're going to go over one of the currently work in progress ships that we just got access to, and that is the Tier 8 destroyer, the Terrible. Now, this is the second French destroyer that we have access to. The first one being its counterpart at Tier 6, the Aigle. Now, the Aigle is currently a ship you can get for coal if you go check out the arsenal. If you want to check out the ship or you like this playstyle and maybe want to try out it, you can get it for, I think, 49,000. That's without a coupon. But the Terrible is going to be a work in progress ship, so just keep that in mind. It's currently work in progress, so things are subject to change. We'll talk about what changes we think we want, and but just keep in mind that this could be completely different before it officially goes live to you guys out there who are interested in buying this ship. So let's dive into the stats really quick, then we'll talk about what makes this thing a little unique for its tier and what makes this an overall, I think, a pretty fun ship. 21,000, so this is Tier 8, so 21,400 health. That is with survivability expert. So here's the captain. Just keep in mind that all of the stats we're seeing right now are with these extra captain skills. So survivability expert, we're gonna get a little bit more life. We're gonna get a little bit more range with AFT with 139mm turret or cannons, and then the concealment expert, we will be running that as well. So just keep that in mind when we are going through. So 21,400, that's pretty solid for Tier 8. So I think a little on the higher end for that. So your survivability is decent. That's good though, because you are a massive ship. This is a really big, almost cruiser sized destroyer. So you're going to need that health pool, because if things want to hurt you, they're going to hurt you. So main battery 5x1 with a 7-second reload, I think is a little on the slow end, you know, compared to a lot of other Tier 8s at this. A lot of Tier 8 destroyers, they're going to have a lot faster, the Loyang, the Benson, the Akazuki, stuff like that. You have to be a little careful, but even with that 7-second reload, there's a little bit of a twist there. Fire chance at 10%. Now you could even boost that up with some flags, and if you wanted to, with the last few points, we could pick up Demo Expert, which I think I probably might, but I might actually pick up Superintendent, and I'll show you why in just a second. So 13.5 kilometers, that is with the AFT extended range. You're right around that 11.2 or so with the normal range. So 13.5 is really nice. I recommend getting AFT on this. And with Torpedoes, 3 sets of 3 at 9 kilometers, and then they are going to be traveling at 60 knots. So pretty decent, but it does have the Mahan style torps, where there is 1 on each side, and then where is the last little guy? There it is. So 1 on each side, and then 1 that can flex between the one side, just kind of like the Mahan has. So you can't launch all 3 on the same side. You have to launch 2 on one side, and then rotate the ship and get that going. So that is it's pretty nice though. Decent reload at 90 seconds, pretty quick, and then of course adrenaline rush if you have that, or with the torpedo reload, you could even get them faster. I don't think it's quite needed, but the torpedoes are nice, pretty fast, and you can actually catch some other DDs out of position and with some early torps, so maybe to get an early torp hit. AA is pretty non-existent. You're not going to be an AA ship. There's no reason to really talk about that much. You might plunk one plane out here and there, but overall nothing to really write home about. Just nothing really damage-wise at all. Basically nothing. Maneuverability. Now this is something that the ship will shine, I think makes it actually kind of cool, is this thing is a freaking speedboat. Standard 43 knots. Now this is without flags. 43 knot speed. And since it's a French ship, it has the French speed boost, which is actually 20%. So this thing actually has a top speed of around 55 knots, which makes it the fastest ship in the game. And it kind of works well with its relatively high detection at Tier 8. Yeah, I think most destroyers are around that 5.8, 5.9, 6 point right there. You are going to be on the much higher end of the concealment spectrum. But the good part about that is you can easily get in and get away from anything that's trying to take you down, because you are just so much faster than everything else at this tier. So if you need to get out of radar range, click on that speed boost. You need to get out of gun range of any other destroyers, just click on that speed boost. They'll never catch up to you. There never is. But that's one thing that kind of sets it apart. Overall, this ship is that it does have that speed boost, and it's the French style, so it's 20% speed boost. So that's really nice, and you'll even see it when we show the gameplay. It doesn't even work correctly in the game right now. It doesn't recognize how fast it's actually going, but you're up into the 50s with that speed boost going if you are hitting that straight line. Although if you are turning, you are going to bleed some speed. It has some smoke, nothing too crazy. Relatively short there with 69 seconds, and then the action time on the consumable is 20. So pretty short, but you're kind of in and out and then kind of continuing to move. And this is one thing that really stands it out, and I think is actually really fun, is the reload booster 2. So this is something we've seen on basically all of the French. The cruisers have them. The Jean Bart has it. The premium tier 9 battleship, which is also work in progress, is this reload booster. And this is something that the Terrible has which makes it an insanely fun ship. So what you go is, you go from a 7-second reload to 75% less than that, so you're into like the 2 seconds right there of reload, and it's extremely fast, extremely effective. And this is why Superintendent is probably something I'll pick up, because getting 5 of those on instead of 4 is extremely nice, especially with smoke. And you will see how effective this can be at just getting a massive advantage on people going destroyer versus destroyer, even with that detectability being so high. You'll just see how just insanely strong and fun this is. And that's one thing that I really kind of want to talk about. But let's go over the upgrades. We'll dive into some gameplay, and then I'll show you kind of what the goods and bads of the ship, and kind of what the right, I think, direction of this ship should probably be. But this is what we're going with. Main armament mod 1, propulsion. The aiming systems just get a little bit more accurate there. You could grab, there's nothing really else worth grabbing. Since it is a big ship, steering gears, you want to avoid as many torps as possible. And of course, concealment expert to get that detection as low as possible. If you don't have that, or don't take it on your captain, you're going to be in the 8s, the 9s. It's going to be a little high for me. But let's dive into some gameplay. We'll talk about what this ship has and offers, and overall what I think about this ship. So here we are in game with the Lee Terrible, and instantly you can see how fast this ship gets going. It is an absolute speedboat, and you can see right here it's going to max out pretty quickly at about 49 knots, I believe. And that's actually the game saying we don't know how fast this can get. 48.9, I think, was about as high as it goes. It actually even goes higher than that, and that is a known bug that Wargaming will fix. So just talking briefly about this ship, I see that it's been getting a lot of really bad and kind of negative feedback on this ship, and that's one thing I kind of want to talk about in this video, and while we go over some gameplay of what I think is just an overall fun ship. And that's something that even with the Egla at tier 6, another thing I would kind of compare this playstyle to is the Błyskawica at tier 7, the Polish destroyer, which I find to be one of my favorite destroyers. And the reason is it's just so much fun to play. Now, is it the most competitive destroyer? Is the Egla the most competitive destroyer? No, it's not. But I think they fall under just fun ships. I think some pretty good examples is like the Perth at tier 6. I don't think it's the best tier 6 cruiser, but do I think it's bad and needs to be changed? No, I think it's an overall just fun ship. I think even the Massachusetts that's been released recently isn't the most competitive battleship. I think the North Carolina, I think the Alabama probably is still even better in it, and maybe even the Amagi, depending on who you ask, is even better. Do I think the Mass is the best overall ship? No, but I think it's a very, very extremely fun ship. And I think that's where the Lit Terrible kind of falls under. I'm getting a lot of feedback from other people watching this that this is not the ship for them, and this ship looks terrible, and they're, hence the name maybe. But overall, I'm not really seeing that, and I feel like that Wargaming really gets into a spot where everything kind of needs to be competitive and needs to be near the best. And something I feel like this ship brings is something that's just extremely fun, and there's nothing wrong with having fun ships. But Wargaming, I think, in my opinion, kind of has that problem with all their balancing. And here we go. I just want to, we'll come back to that, but this is where this reload module, just watch what I can do to a gunboat DD. So this is the reload with the reload consumable. Now this is not the reload all the time, but that's the reload with the reload consumable. Again, this is no BFT, this is no inertia fuse, this is nothing like that. That is a basically what, in 10 seconds we just chunked off about 11,000. Now you can see how the reload is when I don't have the reload at that 7 seconds, which I think is a little slow in my opinion. But an Akazuki, known for being a gunboat, gets absolutely obliterated going into this, and when you can catch somebody off guard, you're going to be extremely happy with how much damage you can do in those brief little spots right there. Us putting 17,000 damage into the Akazuki, and nothing he can really do. But that reload is so awesome, and I find that to be, again, what you'll hear me kind of describe this ship a lot as just being fun. I think this is a very, very fun ship with some interesting things to happen. Do I think it's gonna be the most competitive? No, I don't. I think the Loyang is still better. I think the Benson's still better. I think the Akazuki is still a better ship overall, but I feel like this is definitely has its place in being just a, I'm going to say it again, a fun ship. Now, some of the drawbacks I do see with this ship, though, are I do think its overall reload is a little slow. As you saw, even with the reload timer of knocking off 75%, there are only so many of those, and they are very punishing when that happens. But overall, this is basically falls under kind of like gunboat. It kind of does have a pseudo Russian playstyle. If you've ever played the Haragumo, it kind of has the same effect of that as a ship that kind of is setting up in certain situations and shooting a lot, setting up in certain situations and shooting a lot. A bit more of an open water ship, kind of like a Russian. But I feel like it has the stealth and ability to kind of hold down, you know, an area with torps, with fast loading torps too at 90 seconds. Like, I found that to be actually quite nice, and you'll see how effective they can be a little bit later. But overall, is it going to be super competitive? No, but it's going to have a playstyle which I think is fun and has a place for it. And I actually had quite a lot of fun playing with this ship, honestly. But downsides, I think it's going to need a little bit of a buff for its reload overall. Maybe dropping it down to 6 seconds might help it overall, maybe make it a bit more fun. And then the only other thing I really think this ship needs, personally, because I find that this playstyle is fun, is maybe some more freedom with its turret rotation. The turrets are pretty slow. This is with extra marker ships, but turret rotation and turret freedom. And what I mean by that is, if you can't really see it from this angle, but there's a lot of, and just watch the yellow circles here for a bit, and there's only so much. There's a lot of blockage, both with there's basically 2 in the front, 1 in the middle, and 2 in the back. And with those turrets, the one in the middle has some freedom, but it's either you basically have 2 to 3 turrets on target at one time, unless you're going to show full broadside, which is extremely scary, especially going against cruisers and other destroyers when you have to show broadside to get a lot of turrets on target. So as you see right here, there's 3 that couldn't even get that aiming straight back. It's just the back 2. But right now, you're going to see me and basically these 2 cruisers hold down a bunch of their ships. And we got really unlucky on that torp as well. But again, finding a DD and just punishing him with that reload. So shots are in, and we'll see if we can start working down. I think Spensing gets a little bit lucky on us. But there's the reload, and we had to get a little. We're just going to speed this out of that. That's no big deal. But pump some damage out just like this. This is the punishment of this torp, or of that gun reload, and I really like that. I like having that as kind of an ace in the sleeve when you're needing it, because I think overall, yeah, the ship is a little weak, but I really like this consumable. It's fun. I think Wargaming has done a pretty good job with some recent ships that's still making somehow a unique play style with there being so many ships. I kind of applaud them for that, and I kind of have been recently. But overall, they're still finding something that will make this ship play different than something else. But still, yeah, it's not competitive. I wouldn't call it anywhere near the best. I call it, but it's still unique, which I really do enjoy. Downside is, though, as you can see right here, even if you move a little bit, you're gonna basically get most of your turrets out of the way. And that 7-second reload, I feel like, even though it's 139s, which are a pretty big caliber, I feel like it's just a tad too high, in my opinion, for what this ship kind of needs to do to continue to pump out damage. And you'll see right here is basically we're just going to hold down this entire fort, and it's me and this York versus. And I thought about pumping the reload consumer here, but I didn't know how long that York was going to stay there, but I should have actually. In the end, it would have done a lot more damage. But you can see right here is the reload is pretty is pretty decent. So one thing I'm kind of interested in seeing what Wargaming will do is, will they end up doing something kind of like the Agla, where we have a pretty cool new event coming up? Maybe will the Terrible be one of those ships that you get at the end? No, there could be something like that. I don't think they've really done that much with a Tier 8 ship, but it is potentially something that we could see like that, and I think that kind of opens up the potential of having a ship that a lot of people would consider below par, and having the ability to maybe, you know, have the ship that's just kind of fun, kind of like the Egla was. You could get it for free, or making this just a coal ship, so you know, sell it in the shop, or you can get it through coal. I think that's another cool idea too, about having that. And I feel like Wargame's kind of opened up themselves to really have the ability to get ships that people would consider quote-unquote bad or non-competitive or whatever, to have a place to sell those ships and to kind of disperse those ships through these potentially big events that we have coming in 7.9, and as well as having the ability in coal and other stuff like that. And as you can see, our whole team is slowly making it to the cap, and it's me and this one dude trying to hold down, what is that, 4 ships, 5? I think we almost, yeah, we just killed one. Yeah, so it's me and this dude trying to hold this down and do what we can. I think luckily he gets a torp right here. which helps us a little bit. So it was exactly what we needed here. I need to watch out for torps though. But upsides of this ship, it has a very unique playstyle, and to me, I find it to be a very fun playstyle. Downside, it's big. It has a slow reload, and I feel like its turret placement is pretty bad. And what I mean by that is overall, its placement of turrets kind of takes a lot of its turrets out of the fight. But you can see right here that, you know, even I think we get pretty unlucky with the fire chance though. Oh, there we go. And punishing ships for doing this, or for getting into a situation, or forcing them with the fast torp reload, or forcing them to get into a spot where they force repair on fires. This thing can really kind of punish ships. But again, you can see right here, we're a pretty big ship, and getting those turrets in and out of action is actually pretty tough. But overall, I think it's a fun thing. And as you can see, our team is yelling. That was the York that was helping me out. And one thing that a lot of people brought up too is concealment expert even worth it on this ship? Is it you know, somebody would say I wouldn't run it on this, and I feel like it's still needed. You know, maybe you could go like a full like gunboat style. I just don't think like going that full gunboat style is going to be effective enough, and the reason being is that I just don't think the gun reloads enough. I don't think it's fast enough to really make that worth it. The thing about like the Russians, comparing that, is they have an extremely fast reload, and they can continue to pump out just a ton of shells. This, with a 7-second reload, it's not really doable. But one thing we can do though is kind of pester a ton of other ships with this, and luckily the Richelieu got a little unlucky on his salvo. But it's basically us against the world right now. We're going to try to keep fires on this guy using our last reload consumable, because we know the other two DDs are low, so if we ever find them, we'll be able to get them. Luckily, they aren't too crazy, aren't that much lower than us for detectability wise, and what we can do is we can just slowly kind of knock these guys down and get them down. But you know, I think this kind of happens a lot though, and that was one of the main points. First of all, I like this ship. I do. I think it has a good base. I think the ship itself has really good potential, and I think it has a good chance of being a successful ship. I think it does need some tweaks though, but I think this is the perfect example of ships, and we're just trying to get resets on these guys and try to like keep our team alive as long as possible. I think this ship is the perfect example of looking at ships and saying, is there something wrong with just having fun ships? Does everything need to be competitive, and does everything need to be the best, or at you know, comparable to the best, or something like that? And I think this falls under no. I feel like this is something that is the perfect example of, let's just have something fun. If people want to go out there, use a fun mechanic with this gun reload for destroyers, go out there, hit some shots, you know, go around, play with a friend. I feel like this is an overall really good support destroyer. Maybe if you and another friend want to go out there and have some fun. And you can see me missing all my torps right now. I thought I was going to get wrecked right here, but it seems like a lot of people are just giving this like really kind of saying, oh, this thing is terrible, and I feel like that's kind of just unfair, because not everything needs to be the best, and you can have stuff that is just, again, I said it a million times, and I know everyone in the comments going, I guess this ship is fun, huh? There's nothing wrong with just having something that's fun. And in this game, you know, this is a situation. There is stuff in this game that I feel like I probably wouldn't have even been able to do with something outside of this ship. So that's even got something to say. You know, with that torp reload, getting that extra fire, getting that torp reload, getting stuff like this, and I think even killing this Leningrad, or this Mint. Sorry. I think even if I was in a Benson, you know, maybe I would have hit some other torps and whatnot. But you know, that ammo reload on that consumable is just really good. But yeah, this is a pretty insane game though. I feel like it showed off a lot of the strength of the ship. A lot of people don't even think it has. But my biggest critiques on this is I feel like it needs just a pure increase in its main battery reload. I feel like it just needs to shoot faster. 2, I feel like the ship needs to be just faster. I'm just kidding. It's extremely fast. I would love to see some more freedom. As you can see, whenever I move in and out of a turn, basically all the turrets are kind of getting off target. As you can see right here, I only have like 2 or 3 on target at one time. I would love to see maybe some more freedom, especially on the back turrets. make it so since you are a fast ship, either have all the turrets kind of be able to get either towards the back or towards the front. Let it be either an aggressive destroyer where you can get more turrets, kind of like the Gaja, if you've ever noticed that. You can get a lot of your turrets basically almost forward. Give some freedom, as you can see right here, already given a little bit of an angle, you can't even get those turrets. So maybe giving some freedom there, or just having turrets being able to get a little bit more freedom when turning around the other side. So we're just trying to get a little bit more spots on these DDs. One more reset would be amazing. And we'll see what we can do. This is when Superintendent would be amazing. 300 life, no big deal. And I think we even hit him with a torp here. But overall, a big DD, unique playstyle, and as I'll say it one more time, a whole bunch of fun. So, is the lead terrible? Terrible? No. It doesn't need some love. I think it needs a little bit of love. But as you can see by the score right there, as you can see by the impact we had on this game, and as you can see by everything else, it has its place in this game, and I think it falls under fun ships. So, anyways, guys, remember this ship is currently work in progress, so things are subject to change. I hope I've gone over what I hope will change, and I think maybe give this ship a little bit of a chance. You know, is it the most competitive ship? No, but you know, we'll see what Wargaming ends up doing with it. Maybe this will be something you can buy for coal. Maybe this will be something that we can get from a you know, I'm not the biggest fan of giving away tier 8 ships, but maybe given away through like an event, maybe a long event that we have coming up in the 7.9, something like that, who knows. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video over the currently work in progress tier 8 destroyer, the Elite Terrible, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.